It's this, the future store.
Where do you post it now, Hill?
In the general chat.
General chat. So if you scroll up, yeah.
It's futurestore.earnhem.nl.
These lads are like a agricultural bank.
No, this isn't the bank. This is the store he owns. But I guess they're financed by the bank.
Yeah, powered by Rabobank.
Yeah, and then
does Casper own this store, is it? Or does he have an affiliation with it?
No,
he actually owns it.
Yeah, with two other companions. Ger and Jorik is the tech guy.
Okay.
So this is actually, I don't know if the translation is any good, but I don't think they have an English version of this, which is weird.
I mean, configurator. I mean, that's configurator. You know, product information management, mobile point of sale. I mean, it's pretty much English. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true. We use a lot of English loan words.
I learned that, like, with technology, like with Chinese, European, Russians, everyone, most of the things are in English. You know what I mean? Like, they'll be like, whoa, yeah, PoE injector, you know? Jigga, PoE? You know, oh, it's so funny.
Oh, Jigga.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I went, I don't know if you know this guy, Charles. He's a friend of ours. He's super dark black guy. And he's like one of the only people in dance music, like super into dance music. And we went to China, and everywhere we go, we're walking, there's like, nigga. And Charles is looking at me like, bro, do they not like me? I'm like, I don't know, but I'll fight with you if they fuck with you. Let's go, you know? So we're rolling through, and we get back, and my friends are there at Ultra, and they could tell something's weird. And like, what's going on? I'm like, everywhere we go, we hear nigga. And they're like, bro, nigga means this. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. I feel stupid, but I feel a lot safer now. But all right. So, yeah, I just kind of wanted you to get. Let me turn my camera on. I just wanted you and Robbie and Mark and all you guys to meet and kind of see where we were at, because I know like you guys have been being social and having meetings with people and doing stuff. But Robbie, on the technical side of things, he's been working on a lot of things that are going to help us in the long run for deploying. So basically, just so you know, like these first 20, 50, 100 units, they're introductory. They're to prove the concept, right? Ideally, if we get to 500, 1,000 units, and we can control the area and manipulate, you know, basically have our own network within Helium, right?
Marlijn, heb je al verteld over die visie?
It's going to be very lucrative.
Another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, yesterday we also had a meeting with the biggest sustainable mortgage company in the Netherlands.
Nice.
So they and the creative director is also creative director of my foundation, where we match cultural projects and corporate funding. And they were also super excited because this totally fits their sustainable development thingies, and it's new and fresh, and they always look to be the company that will be the standard within 10 years. So apart from Rabobank, those guys from Visie. Oh yeah, I think I shared with you. I showed you the documentary that they made about the finance about me. You know, it's like
I didn't watch it yet, but I'm going to check it out. But
yeah, but go ahead. I'm eating, by the way, so I'll turn off my camera.
No, it's fine. I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was going to say.
You were at like when we hit like 500 or 1,000 units. Like
so once we have that network set up, obviously that's where the real money is being made. When, for example, those bankers' clients of farmers in Ireland and all the farming in all of Europe, basically, they're all using LoRaWAN devices, right? And I was looking online, like farms in California. We have legal cannabis here, right? And cannabis is highly taxed. It's like 47% tax, and there's like. That's just retail tax. So on top of it, there's like something like 157% taxes or something, right? And on top of that, every single plant, every time it's watered, they have to report how much water it was given, what chemicals it was given, how much growth it was grown, whether it was an inch, when it weighs, how much it weighs wet, how much it weighs dry, how much they trim. They cannot waste a stem. If they drop and lose a stem, they get fined, right? So this is costing them hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So Parley Labs, my partner, his well, not my partner, my affiliate, the guy who's helping me with all the distribution, his number one goal for his company this year is to attack, cannabis farms in California, right? But that's just a California thing, and that's kind of like a niche thing that he found, you know what I mean? But I see a bigger picture, you know what I mean? The problems for cannabis are in the same for every other, it's all agriculture, you know what I mean? So I'd be really curious to figure out some of the operation costs of these farms, and how much they have to pay every year in maintenance for all these sensors, because I'm sure they're not out there freaking measuring cups by hand, nitrogen and sodium and stuff. They got computers and stuff, right? So I want to make sure that we have the right partners in place, because for example, if we send 20 or 30 units and then we install them all and we achieve our goals and we make the money we say we're going to make, we need to have a next step to expand to 100 to 500 to 1,000. Now I remember, when we were talking to Julian waiting for you, he mentioned that Casper had a concern where he was like, hey, if I bought 1,000 of these units, could you deploy them? Do you have a strategy? Do you know how to do it? Right? And at the time, I believe you guys said you didn't have a strategy.
We did not.
Yeah, so this is why I want Robbie to share this this document we've been working on. Is basically with 2 or 3 employees, and you can change it. We can talk about how we want to do it, but if you can bring it up and basically show you how many installs we can do in a week, how many installs we can do in a month, how many installs we can do in a quarter, in a year, how all the money, how much it's going to cost, the initial investment, how long it's going to take to make back. Obviously, the only thing that we haven't finalized is pricing on certain things, right? Like I haven't gotten the shipping price on the 20 units because I don't know if I'm shipping just the units or I'm waiting for some POE. I'm trying to get everything together, right, before I get the final shipping price, right?
Yeah.
And then also whatever that price is, whatever we put on the invoice, there's going to be a 21% import tax on that, right?
Have you talked to like an American shipping agent on these things, or?
Yeah, I was importing and exporting a lot of PPE.
Okay.
So like from China to the United States, like I'm really good at. China to Europe, I'm learning more about now.
I'll just shoot my mom a text because she has an American in Rotterdam actually who does all the shipping for her to America.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I mean, yeah.
So I'll check
I love competitive
your shipping
quotes.
entity.
You know what I mean? Because right now I'm totally dependent on my wife, and my wife is doing her best job, but she's not an import-export person.
Yeah.
But all right, cool. Let's look at Robbie's stream.
Yeah, can you all see the stream?
Yeah. Great.
Okay.
So right
Right,
now,
well,
Robbie,
basically-
I'll let you do it. Go ahead.
Yeah, so hold on, sorry. Sorry. My cat is on my lap, but it's just really annoying. I have to hold the mic up. Sorry. So yeah, this is basically, there's a few calculators in this that I've made to it basically we can, it's financial calculators when it comes to deploying on the Helium network. We have a quick costs sheet here. We've got a supply sheet, all your supplies, the miner itself, everything down to the electrical tape, Velcro straps, antenna, Ethernet and cable, plugs, everything. There's 52 items in here. That's all the supplies we have here. We've got your quick cost sheet, so we can see that 20 installs. Type A installs are like on a house. We have different install types. This is really, there's so much here, so much information.
Yeah, don't overwhelm Robbie. Just stick with A and F. So type A is a regular home, and an F is a windmill turbine, right? So these are the items
so
that
how
you
do you
deploy those to.
how the install types work is I've basically got the supply sheet here with all the supplies. A lot of the supplies you can see are baseline supplies. So every single install that you do, whether you're doing it on a house, in a field, or on a windmill, you need these baseline things. You know, you need the miner, you need your tape, the injector, the splitter, whatever. But then each install type has its own specifications. For instance, each install type will use different lengths of Ethernet cable. Some install types will use a steel pole that's 16 foot. Others will use a 6 foot steel pole. You know, all these differences matter when you're doing this all at scale. So you can calculate the costs of, say, 100 different installs. You know, so I've categorized them into 6 different install types, and A and F are just the two we'll focus on because they're the best and they're the easiest really. They get the most rewards. This quick cost sheet will tell me that 20 install type A's, which are install types on the side of houses, you know, like getting a steel pole, mounting it to a house and sticking the antenna on top of the pole. Probably the most average common install that there is outdoors. That'll take 20 of them will cost us a total of almost €15,000 per hotspot, and if we bought everything in bulk, it would be 18,000, 19,000.
Yeah.
The
So
bulk part doesn't
can I just
go on.
explain the bulk part real quick? Just so Merlin, the bulk part, the reason why it's 18,947 is, for example, we'll need 1,000 meters of cable. And that cable will cover 50 installs, but we only need enough material for 20. So we'll have leftover material. So that's where that extra money is.
Yeah, but it's like I think if we're gonna buy per hotspot, we're gonna run into trouble real soon. So
Yeah, that's why it's not per hotspot. If you look, right, you have the in bulk costs, right? So it's 18,000. Like, for example, make it 100 real quick. Make it 1,000 real quick, Robbie. Right? So now if we want to do 1,000 hotspots, right, it's going to cost us $747,000. But it's going to, that material is more than 1,000 hotspots, because when you go to the store, they don't sell you exactly how much you need, right? So you would need less. So let's see if we made it 800. I want to try to get the material price and them to see they're still. What about 750?
500.
Yeah, you see how it's always like 100K more because you're buying
Yeah,
in bulk.
you can
I'm
see
trying to
here.
find that sweet spot.
You can see here basically this is the explanation here. So say the PVC tape, right? Electrical tape. We'll use 0.15 meters of that per install. But you don't buy it as 0.15 meters. You buy it from, if you're buying from Screwfix Ireland, you're buying it as 33 meters, right? A 33-meter roll of PVC tape will cost you 86 cents. That's how all of this works. So for instance, cable labels, I can buy them in a batch from Cable Monkey, the supplier here. I can buy 1,029 cables in one pack for 66 quid. We only need 2 per hotspot, so it costs us 13 quid per hotspot. So that's how it's broken down in bulk.
And obviously, with me going to China and finding better prices, and obviously, if we start deploying in Amsterdam and you guys start resourcing your prices, there's an option that we can add that into these calculators so that we can get exact prices. You know,
like we have here the supplier. I can choose for this. I could choose a different person here. You'll see the stuff changing here, the in bulk quantity and price change if I change to Brunel Ireland. So you can see that's changed there.
Because they sell it by 3 meters.
Yeah, for a different price. So that's how this is broken down here. This allows us to really accurately project. This is just a quick cost sheet as well. Really accurately project the costs for however many installs we decide to do. So we've installed type A and F. I have another calculator here. The deployment calculator.
Yeah, this is the important one.
Yeah. So we can see here, it's basically just you enter in a load of numbers in the dark spots here and you get all your information here. So we'd start with the price of HFT. We'd say is €27, which I think is $30. That's pulled in from a different calculator here. Yeah, $30. So the price of HNT is $30. If we include all the costs, the baseline costs, so the miner, all the enclosure, the injector, the splitter, the baseline costs for every setup, and then we include some one-off costs, a network tester, we only need to buy that once. At the minute, we only have about 300 quid's worth of one-off purchases. And then we also pull in the costs for each install type. Okay, I'm not going to go into each install type. We're only going to focus on A and F because A is install type. That's installing a hotspot on the side of someone's house with a pole, and F is installing a hotspot onto the hub of a wind turbine. So we'll only focus on those two. The rate of the return on investment rate, we'll set it to days. Then we can see here, this is where we make all our definitions, right? So for install type A on the side of a house, realistically, in Ireland, if you place it well and you place it high, like you've got maybe a 16-foot steel pole on the side of someone's house, reaching up well above their roof, you'd be looking at about 0.18 HNT a day. For a wind turbine, you'd be looking at about, you'd be roughly looking at 1.6 HNT a day, but you could be doing much, much more.
Yeah, it could be higher. These are conservative numbers,
Yeah, these are all very conservative.
I've seen windmills do 5 to 10 HNT a day, but obviously,
absolutely,
in the future, the scale will get oversaturated. This is just at current. These are current averages, current prices, current everything.
So when it comes to leasing, for A, I would say people would be, because it's going on the side of their house, they'd be happy with €400. I mean, in Ireland anyway. These are all sort of just Irish projections and figures. €400 a year paid quarterly. I think most people will be happy with that. The thing with the leasing is these leasing fees are the biggest money drain. So we're basically just trying to pay as little leasing as possible because it can cost us so much.
Yeah, leasing and taxes are our number one expense.
Yeah, so the leasing is €100 quarterly for the side of a house. For a wind turbine, I think in Ireland, a lot of them we could get away with paying 100 quid a year. This is obviously, I just sort of pulled it out of my head now. But 100 quid a year.
We haven't actually.
What do you call to get that lease?
Sorry?
What do you call to get the lease on the windmill?
Well, at the minute, what we're going to do, we're going to figure that out by one of the guys that helps us put up the hotspots in Ireland. His neighbour owns a wind farm with 5 turbines, and we're getting some hotspots over. We're gonna try and put them up on the wind turbines, and
but this is like privately owned, or?
Yeah, those wind
individuals as well as businesses can own wind farms in Ireland. You just have to apply to certain grants.
That's really good, actually. We have something like that in Holland. You have these communities of people that live in places where the windmills are placed because the placement is done by the government. So there are some people that own parts of it, but again, then the other half is owned by some power company or government thing. So yeah, at the moment we have one solid lead, but it's I think it's in Holland. It's going to be way harder to place it on windmills, but if we can place it on one windmill, I think we can do 1,000. But yeah,
that's like I said, it's a race to the first windmill. But not to get off track, I want to let Robbie finish this and get to.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was just wondering,
No, you're grand. It's different over here. So I think with windmills we can get away with paying, depending on how we approach them. I think if it's myself and Mark approaching them as hobbyists, we obviously don't tell them that we're making money off of this. We're just hobbyists. We've got an IoT interest. That we've got this little project, has an antenna, and we need it up as high as possible. And we want to put them. You've got 5 wind turbines. Would you mind if we paid you 100 quid a year per wind turbine, and we'll stick a hotspot on each? Most people, I think, would be privately owned wind farms, would have absolutely no problem with that. So 25, I think we could get away with 100 a year. So that's what I have in here, right? Leasing fee is €25 paid quarterly, right? So labor, I've set it to 75 an hour. It used to be lower, but actually Jason pays $75 so I'll do 60 an hour.
Yeah, when you take into account things like rental of equipment, the person's time, insurance, all those various different things when you're outsourcing it, 75 is a decent figure. Because then if it is under that,
their truck, their ladders, their tools, their insurance, everything.
Yeah, and then if it's
I think
under that, then
75 is
ideal.
very good, actually.
It's a good price. It's fair market price for a licensed contractor with all of the tools. Now, if it's some worker, you know what I mean? There's a difference between a worker and a contractor. If it's a worker, then yeah, we'll pay him €40, 30 euro an hour, like 20, 10 euro fucking hour. Like we pay Mexicans here like maybe 100 a day illegals. It's crazy. Like, I don't know if you guys have that problem.
That's actually not too bad over here. 100 a day. If they're working 5 days a week.
But at the end of the day, we want to make it sure that it's we don't run into any unnecessary issues. So dealing with a licensed contractor that has insurance, etc., and you have to pay an extra €30 an hour, it's definitely worth it.
Definitely.
I think so too.
Like
let's say he's on the roof and falls through the fucking roof, right? It's like, God forbid that happens, but if that happens, that's not going to be on our company. That's his company, his contractor, all his shit.
The thing is, like, if we're going to install, I think the best way would be actually to have a truck with like a lift in it.
Yeah, that's actually one of the things that we've accounted for. It's called a cherry picker. You can get them installed on the top of the roof, and then it can extend up to about 30 feet higher. So it's about an extra €4,000 or €5,000 as far as I know, which is quite a decent price for doing it at scale.
So yeah, I mean, if we get to the point where we're doing 10 installs a week, we can definitely buy a truck. But at this point,
which is the intention.
We need the.
At the minute, it would cost us. €250 a day to rent a cherry picker. So if you're paying, 4 or 5 grand to stick one on top of your van, you make it back fairly quickly.
Yeah, after 20 installs.
Especially with the fact that you have to also get the thing delivered, But
and like with taxes, you can depreciate it, and there are some benefits, but at the same time, it's also liability. If the truck breaks down, we got to rent another one. If this happens, you know what I mean. There's pros and cons, so it's things we should consider as we expand.
So, what we're paying the hourly rate for each install type, whether you're installing on the side of a house or on a windmill, would say 70 quid an hour, right? A windmill, I think, would require one person. Again, these are all estimates, but they're I'm trying to be accurate and they're conservative. But a windmill, install type F, I think would be one person job. I think it's simple. You just get to the top of the hub. You've got a door on the top of the hub, and you simply mount the antenna to the hub. It's not a 2-man job. You couldn't even fit 2 people in the top of a hub. Like, one of them can be outside installing the antenna. You can't have 2 people sat on top of the hub. That's extremely dangerous. Yeah, and it would take 2 hours, I think, because there's very little involved. You don't even need an enclosure for the miner. The only thing that's outdoors
on cost, it's just the antenna that goes outside, right?
Exactly, yeah, and you run the cables in. I was talking to someone who installed on Poland, and he was telling me it was an easy install. The windmill already had internet connectivity. The only thing that was outside was the antenna and the antenna cable. That was it. The rest of it was inside. And he showed me a picture. He had simply mounted it to a small 1-foot pole, if even 1 foot. The pole might have already been there, but it was
How did he get the antenna cable outside?
Presume he put it through either made a hole in the hub, or there was a hole there for cables already. I didn't ask him that.
For the actual internet stuff from the windmill.
What?
There should be already like in my house that's plumbed for solar, right? So
there's accessibility already.
Yeah, there should be accessibility.
Yeah,
and then the thing is, like, anything that can be prepped beforehand, like Robbie and I can do. For example, even if it's like a Type A install, like, I'd rather put the enclosure together myself and save a half an hour than pay a contractor to €70 to do it. So like there are ways of minimizing these pieces of expenditure.
And I do the same thing. I give everything complete to the contractor. All he has to do is fucking drill it to the roof and then run the cable.
Yeah,
and then I do everything else.
Jason, is it possible that like we get the miners without the sense cap enclosure? We just need the Raspberry and the
no, that's not possible.
That's too bad.
Yeah, sense cap paid Helium a lot of money to be able to make those enclosures and sell them before anyone can make it out of anything. Use any computer, any Raspberry Pi. You just need to buy the radio frequency kit, which they sold on their website, and then you would just solder it on, and you'd have a Helium miner. But they ran into manufacturing issues. And someone was like, well, I'll manufacture all these motherfucking things for you, but I want a commitment. I want, some sort of deal. And now that's how you have Bobcat, Rack, SenseCap. But I like SenseCap. They're a little bit more expensive than some of the competition, but they have the built-in dashboard, which when we scale is going to...
Dashboard is amazing.
Yeah, it's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. So, labor, say 70 an hour per job. One person is involved for a windmill install. 2 people can do a house install. Yeah. Most houses in Ireland, in rural Ireland anyway, 95% of them have an aerial pole already. So you're not buying a pole and putting it up. Really, the only reason you need 2 people is because one will... Yeah, safety. Yeah. You can't put a fucking 6-meter pole up by yourself. It's heavy. But if there's a pole there already, which for 95% of houses there is in rural Ireland, then it's an easy job. 2 people there is really just for safety. 3 hours per job for those ones. Majority of them will be 3 hours. They include a pole already. Like 3 hours, you could even throw travel time into the 3 hours, right? But for the sake of these calculators, there's no travel time. These are just hours from when you arrive at the house or the windmill to when you have finished the job, So that's the labor per install type. We'd say 10 days of downtime per year per hotspot. Or sorry, 10 days. Did I say 10 years?
Yeah, 10 days.
Yeah. 10 days of downtime per hotspot per year. We have 2 laborers employed at the minute. We'd say we can change that to 5, we can change it to 100, whatever. You'll see later how that plays into this. Hours per working day, we'll say 6 hours in a working day. Okay, 6 working hours in a working day. That gives us about 2 hours of travel time and lunch, which isn't that much, to be honest, because how we would go about acquiring locations would be that we would acquire them within 300 meters of each other, So you're not doing an install in here and then driving.
Not going to Rotterdam and fucking going to Merlin's house and going back to the dam and then going to fucking
You would have a street in Ireland anyway. Most of the rural houses are far away from each other, but far enough away that you can walk to them. But they're far enough away that you can still stick a hotspot on both of them and not worry about density really, the transmit scale and all that. So there isn't much travel involved. You for 1 week you would acquire a ton of locations in the same area, and then the next week you just go and install in all those locations. So we'd say 6 working hours per working day. That accounts for about 2 hours of travel and eating. We'd say 5 working days per working week. Usually 6, but we'd just say 5 to be conservative. Would say 100 type A's, so 100 hotspots, 100 installs on houses, and we'd say 100 installs on windmills, and we'd say within a 2-year time frame. So all of this information is being calculated now. Everything here is being calculated, and we're going to view it all within a 2-year time frame. So the first thing we see is not enough laborers to deploy install type C and D. That's what I was talking about here. We've got 2 laborers employed. These require 3 people. C and D require 3 people. Install type C and D are just installing a wooden mast, 60 foot, 70 foot.
It's like building your own tower in the middle of a field with nothing.
You need 3 people at least. So we've only got 2 employed. We'd say 3 employed. All we need to focus on is type A and type F, though. So we can basically, this is all the financial calculations here. For 100 install type A deployments, the hotspot costs will be 74.7 thousand euro.
Say 75K.
Yeah.
And then
in the first year
a year for the leasing.
Yeah, well, 40,000 for the leasing in the first year, and then you can see everything is broken down into basically in first year and then total over 2 years. If I change that to 3 years, we can see in first year and then total over 3 years, all the calculations match now. So basically, there's a lot here, and we can just scan through it. We can see our costs of the labor for a type A, because it takes us 3 hours and we've got 2 people, we're paying them £7. We'd say 50 for the sake of just easily calculating this. 2 people, 3 hours per job, 6 hours per working day, 5 working days in a working week. For 100 install type A's, we'll spend 30,000 on labor. For windmills, we'll spend 10,000. For 100 windmill installations, 10,000 on labor. The total,
so 60% cheaper to install a windmill turbine than a type A turbine, and the rewards are 10x. Is that
yeah,
correct?
they're huge. So the total costs we've got here of everything, the leasing, the labor, and the hotspot costs. There's a lot of information here, but really what matters is the rewards and the profits. The amount of HNT we'll make in our first year. So remember, on our houses, we're making about 0.18 HNT a day. On the windmills, we're making 1.6 HNT a day. In our first year, 100 deployments, we'll make about 6.4 thousand HNT. And on the windmills, we'll do about almost 57,000 HNT. Over 2 years, that of course doubles. You can see the rate here that we're going at. Converted to euro, for 100 installs on houses, the HNT rewards will be about 177,000 in the first year, and then the second year will be 354,000. On a windmill, the euro rewards will be almost 1.6 million in the first year, and over 2 years, 3.1 million. The profits for the houses, 100 installs on houses. In the first year, we're talking 57,000 euro in profits. Over 2 years, it's 194,000. And with the windmills, the profits, almost 1.5 million in the first year and 3 million in the second year.
What height did you calculate for the house in the total height of the antenna?
For the houses?
Yeah.
We don't have a height for the houses. We have
there's an average reward. So normally people get about 0.18, but you can see that my hotspot, Julian's hotspot, it's making more than the average. However, in the next 12 to 24 months, more hotspots are going to come up, so that number might go down. But you also got to remember that the price is supposed to go up. So these are all assuming that time stays still over the next 2 years and nothing appreciates or depreciates in any value, right?
Yeah, they're also very conservative. For instance, Mark, a few installs, but Mark, for example, he has a simple installation on his house. It's a
type A install.
Type A install, a 7.5 meter pole going from the ground mounted to the side of his house.
It's about 30
his is
feet
doing
here, and it's getting anywhere from 0.21 to 0.55 a day as of right now. But a lot of my surrounding area isn't even covered, so I'm not even witnessing those. So when that is implemented realistically and we install those, maybe my rewards, instead of going in that 0.3 region, will actually just consistently stay at 0.5.
So and even with a degraded pay scale and saturated and not maximized area, you're still a minimum of 10% above the conservative rewards, right?
Absolutely,
Have you guys tried, because this was what I was wondering, have you guys tried installing multiple hotspots on one roof and then just moving them a bit on the grid?
No.
No.
You don't want to do that. If
Yeah,
that's
I'd be
called
very cautious
gaming,
of that.
and if you get caught gaming, they'll ban your hotspots. They'll freeze your wallet, take all your money. They'll fuck you.
But how are they going to find that out?
Because you're gaming the system. So there's a delay, right? So where you say it is and how much time it takes for the antenna 1 to get to antenna 2 takes this much time. Since they're right next to each other, that time is shorter, and they're going to see that. And they're going to be like, there's no way this signal can get here in 1 millisecond. It's supposed to take 2. You know? So they can measure the distance. There's literally people right now, they've actually banned entire manufacturers. So people have gone in and been like, oh, I want to make my own Raspberry Pis. I want to be a Helium. Here's $1 million. I have all the money. I want to be your partner, right? Then they get the rights and they figure out how to make the machines. They plug them all in, fake all the things. And right now, like Helium just got robbed for 171,000 Helium 2 days ago from a manufacturer. They had to ban them. And now everyone that bought their machine, it's worthless.
Okay, that's sick.
So yeah, you don't want to game. It's called gaming. You don't want to game. You can also game your challenges. So there's like one every 4 hours or whatever. You can force it to do it like every 10 minutes. You know. So people set up thousands of these things. There's actually Netherlands is being gamed. I was looking at when I first had that meeting with Merlin. Merlin's like, yeah, that's like government area. No one lives there. There's nothing there, and it's like perfectly set up hotspots. You know, it's just like all 1.0 scale. Yeah. And like it's super fake. So I don't know if they banned them yet, but they will get banned, and their H&T will be worthless. And yeah, it's kind of.
I think there's a few in Ireland as well.
Yeah, it's not worth doing, even if you think you might get short-term rewards. I mean, the entire plan of this is sustainability and the long-term vision. Like what Jason said earlier about, building the cell tower, you're going to make any money off that? No, it's the infrastructure that, will actually use those towers and those hotspots.
So let's get to, sorry to cut you off, Mark, but let's just get to the part where we figure out with 2 employees how long it's going to take to do this shit.
Yeah, so we've 2 laborers employed. This is the amount. It takes 3 hours on a house, 2 hours on a windmill per job, 6 hours per working day, and 5 working days per working week. We can see that working days, it would take we could get 2 deployments done per working day for install type A, 6 deployments done per install type F, the windmills, per day. Working days until full deployment, if we're doing 100 install type Fs on windmills, it would take 16.7 working days until full deployment of 100 install type Fs, and it would take 50 days for 100 install type As. The same goes, I have it all calculated for weeks, months, quarters, and years.
So in a year, in 1 year, you can do 480 installs with 2 people. So basically, if we wanted to do 1,000 within a year, we would need 4 to 6 people in case someone's sick, backups, blah blah blah. So 4 to 6 laborers, we could easily.
What do you guys think about outsourcing this? Actually, like with the solar people, they earn money from every hotspot that they run in their roof. The lease price. So why don't just give them the assembled miner, let them put it up next to the solar panel, shit is done, you don't have labor.
That's fine.
I think that's
and if they also want to partner and receive half the rewards, then they can just it'll be like a 60-40. They'll be the 60 because they're putting in the labor, and I'll be the 40.
Honestly, I think they'll take like 25 easily.
Yeah, I think so too.
Well, make it happen. Because at the end of the day, that's a perfect relationship. That's why I like the solar people, because they're already on roofs. They already have the trucks. They already sell people. They already know how to get people comfortable with them drilling holes and going on their fucking roofs. While they're doing it, they'll be like, hey, would you also like a hotspot that will discount this much off your fucking program? Yeah. Then that money goes to them. It raises their bottom line. And now they're making more money than any other solar company in fucking Netherlands.
That's the thing. Like, these people actually act like they do this all for charity. So if they mine helium, they'll donate say like, yeah, we mine helium and we'll donate it to charity, and then they act cool about it.
Cool.
So I think that might be awesome. We also have like some sort of similar company that does this with wind, but the windmills are only 15 meters high, so that will be like what is it, 50 foot, I think, something like that.
15 meters is still pretty good, though.
It's not terrible. You know what I mean?
It's actually quite good. Like at 15 meters, provided you're in a half decent area and you're getting witnesses, you're still talking probably 0.75 HNT a day. And if you consider the appreciation of the HNT token and its value, if you say $100, that's $75 a day. You're not going to say no to that, like.
I think the areas are mostly going to suck because it's going to be like farmers and people like that who have this. But then again, if they use the equipment like the LoRaWAN equipment, it might actually transmit data. So
basically what's happening now is capitalism gone wrong, okay? Everyone is taking these fucking miners and plugging them in these big cities and creating these big saturated networks that no one needs to fucking use, while the farmers are sitting growing, paying them fucking hand over fist all these fees for their shit to work, looking like, what the fuck is cryptocurrency? Fucking weird city kids? When really it should be the other way around, you know what I mean? Like, we should be deploying these in the rural areas. Fuck the city. It's just the city people are money driven, and that's where all the progressive stuff is. So that's why this is happening. But I don't care about what everyone else is doing. I don't care about the big cities. The big cities are just going to help us when we set up in the rural areas. If we reach enough signal, we'll be able to get a bunch of their rewards, you know?
Yeah. You can see here, I'll show you Ireland, how it looks with the...
But before we get into... We can talk about all the Helium stuff all day. I just want to talk about Casper and stuff real quick. So when we talk to Casper, I just want to... After you talk to him and when we set up our meeting, I just want you to kind of explain to me like what his how he thinks this is going to happen. You know, like how many hotspots does he want to deploy in a year? Like, because that will help. Because if he's like, hey, I only want to do 500, you know, then we know. If he's like, hey, I want to fucking do the whole country, I'll tell you right now, it takes 40,000 hotspots to do a whole country. And the
thing is, like Casper is partnered with what is the dude's name, Milan?
Ger.
No, I mean the other one.
Oh, Jorik.
Yeah, those two have like the website company, and there's this third guy. He's like an ex-CEO of a big, well, I think the biggest warehouse of the Netherlands. He is also involved in the future store. So there's 3 people. The last guy, the ex-CEO, he said to us like, dude, if you can get 1,000, what's your plan? And we said, well, I'd be happy if I can install like a couple of hundred a year. And he said like, oh, well, call me if you can do 1,000. So
yeah, he wanted to do
so
per month.
When Julian told me that before, I was immediately like, oh fuck, I wish I was able to show you guys.
He's not gone, by the way.
No, I know he's not gone.
But that's the funny thing. Like Casper actually said like, hey, I know he kind of blew you guys off, but he called me and said like, hey, can I still get a miner? I really want to get into it. So he's still hyped. So
this is how I see this working, right? Is basically when it comes to like the strategy and deployment and the math stuff, I would love for like me and Robbie to consult and do all this shit. And then Julian, obviously, if you want to continue doing installs, you can do that. But we have to figure out a way to compensate. For example, Merlin is bringing all the food to the table right now, right? So he brought these companies. He's bringing these partners. So we got to figure out how to compensate him, right? So if me and Casper are 50-50, right? It's just like, how does that all work? You know what I mean? So obviously, I remember you saying you guys were considering, instead of paying out a lease fee, to give a quarter of the rewards, right? So my suggestion would be, if we were going to go that route, you would make it 20% and give it to the homeowner, and then the extra 5% rewards you save for sales. So basically, out of every single house that Merlin found, if he didn't put $1 into any of the deployment, he would still get 5% of the rewards. Then what I would like to happen is that if we start deploying and we start making money, for example, it takes about 45 days to recoup on a windmill. And to install on a windmill, for example, if we had 6 windmills, I want to give the opportunity for each of us to own and have our own windmill. You know what I mean? So that way, if Merlin, for example, gave us $1,400, at $1,400 he'd get back in 45 days, and then he would just be kind of recouping that money so that he'd be owning his own miners. Because at the end of the day, you know, I want to make sure that we do this partnership, but everyone kind of understands their role and how they're getting compensated, and, you know, opportunities for other investors to come in, other locations. Because, you know, once we're done with the Netherlands, if this succeeds, we're going to have the whole manual to set up a network for a country. You know what I mean? So
Casper actually told us that he had an in for Portugal.
See, and then we got other people in Costa Rica. I got people in Mexico. We got people here, people there. I'm Russian. You know what I mean? Like, after the war, we can fucking go over there. So there's gonna be so much opportunity in Russia after this fucking war. Oh my god, it's gonna be a shithole. I want to go there and buy everything. And so yeah, that's where I'm at. I don't know what you guys think, but
I just want to interject. When you said that there are 1,000 installs, we'll say 100 of those installs, right? Casper's looking for 1,000. We'll say 100 of those are on houses, and we'll say 900 on windmills, because the windmills are just better. I think there's well over 900 windmills in Ireland. We'd say we've employed 30 labourers. We'll just jump straight to the profits and the time calculations, right? So 30 labourers, and 900 windmills, we're looking at profits of 13 million in the first year, 27 million the second year.
And what's our initial investment?
The costs would be 1 million for 900 windmills.
Yeah, so we basically need like 1.2 million. We need like 100K euro crutch, and then the money to do everything.
Yeah, over the first year is 1 million, and then second year is 1.
We got to add some costs to that. So you got to remember, fucking 21% import tax on everything. You know what I mean? So it's really about 1.5 million, but a lot of that's recoupable. So something I want to talk about, Merlin, when we can set up with the accountant, is figuring out one, how is cryptocurrency taxed, right? And then the tax rates. Because, for example, if I claim the cryptocurrency here, right, then I just pay the income, and then when I pay you, I can just write you a check in euros and send it to you. Or if you claim the H&T there, then when you sell it, you can recoup your taxes and then send me a consultant check. You know what I mean? Either way, you got to figure out how to balance the expenses so that both our books are at zero and we're not paying. Because you don't want my company spend 500K and then the Dutch company make 2 million. Then you have to pay all these taxes. You know what I mean? We want to balance it out as much as possible. So
isn't the best way to do this just in crypto?
It depends what country you're in and what your goal is. For example, in America, I have to pay taxes at the end of the year for the price I mine. So let's say I mined 1,000 helium and it's $30 a helium. I made $30,000. I got to pay income tax on that.
But how do they know you have this?
Because I'm telling them.
Okay.
You don't want to not pay your taxes, man.
Yeah.
They have KYC. So yeah, like all of this stuff is being watched. Like people think like, oh, DeFi, it's my MetaMask isn't linked. Like something as simple as MetaMask. Yeah, I assume you've used crypto and stuff. Yeah.
I really don't. So I'm really just asking.
Okay, well, for a lot of the things that seem decentralized, for example, MetaMask is one of the biggest wallets that's used. A lot of people use it. You know, Goldman Sachs have a pretty sizable stake in that behind the scenes, but a lot of people don't realize that. So trust me, like you can get watched and found out.
Fuck even that. How about this? How about they shut down the whole fucking country of Portugal and they said, hey, you cannot use MetaMask anymore, and it's supposed to be decentralized.
Yeah.
You know, so anyone that was in Portugal that turned on their computer to try to get their Ethereum, they said, sorry, you're banned. You can't access your Ethereum. It's like, how freaked out would you be? So basically, what you want to do, right, is this is what I hope happens. I hope that in Europe, it's not income tax. I hope it's capital gains tax. So when you sell it at the price you sell it for, that's when you pay taxes, right? If that's the case,
it is in Ireland anyway.
If that's the case, we're never paying taxes. Because what's going to happen is if we have $1 million H&T and we have $30 million, we're not going to sell it for $30 million. We're going to go to the fucking bank and say, hey, we'd like to leverage our Helium. It's a digital asset. It's worth $30 million, and we want a loan for 25. And then we get to keep $25 million. You know? So it's...
Sorry, Julian. I was going off the assumption that you used crypto and whatnot yourself.
Well, like I have some like Dogecoin and stuff like that. I'm not into crypto things yet.
And that's fair enough.
Yeah.
I get you.
Like,
so yeah, if you want, we can start having classes and sending you stuff and setting your shit up so that you can like figure shit out. But in the meantime,
I do a lot of hardware stuff, and I've been techie my whole fucking life. But this crypto, I've just got, like, when we had the nightclub, there was always this guy that talking about, yeah, man, I have like so much Bitcoin. And ever since then, I fucking hated it. Because I just hated this fucking dude. Milan, you know the guy, right?
Yeah, and he was in 2011, so I think he made quite some money with it now. Because at that time he was quite pioneering. Yeah, know what you mean.
Oh, yeah. He's definitely got some good money now.
I think, knowing him, he probably fucked up.
So knowing,
yeah, that might.
So knowing Casper, knowing these people you talk to, and seeing all the work we've done, and seeing what you've done, assuming we present this all to him, you know, what should our concerns be? You know what I mean? What questions do you think he might ask we haven't covered? You know, what's his threshold? How does he want to start? Like what's going on?
Yeah, but this is the thing with Casper. Like, he's not going to shut something down because something's not covered. Like, this is as solid base as you need to have, I think. And I think let's just start the conversation. You don't even have to show him the sheet if you don't want to.
It's like, I just wanted to show you guys, and I wanted all of us to be on the same page before we bring in even more people, especially somebody who wants to invest. You know what I mean? So I want to make sure, for example, you're not too savvy with crypto. I'm going to send you some shit. I want to get you more savvy with crypto. Whatever questions or concerns Merlin or any of his solar people have, his mortgage people, Casper, the other guys' names that I can't pronounce, I just want to make sure that, like, we're tight. We're on a unit. I don't want Merlin to have a meeting with someone or Mark to have a meeting with someone, then we all meet together and we're saying all different fucking things. Like, we need to be a unit. We need to be tight. So we need to know, you know, if you go back to the guide, be like, oh, actually, you know, I was mistaken. We can install 1,000 units. It would take this much time, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, kind of set up things so that when people are asking questions, we kind of have like we set up a procedure. So we have an answer for every question. Oh, how are you going to handle this? Boom. How are we going to do that? Boom. It's just like, so that when they go to Merlin or Julian or me or Mark or whoever, the answer is always the same. It's never, I don't know, or let me ask somebody, or, you know, any of that type of stuff, right? So any questions you have or anything you didn't understand. But for me, like, what Robbie put together is fucking so good. Like, this is what's been in my mind, and this guy just fucking wrote it on paper. And, it's been super.
I can't do maths in my head, so that's why I do this. Like, because I just can't. I literally can't do basic maths in my head. It's just blanks. But yeah, I just wanted to throw in again there. Say we have 10 laborers employed, right? And we're going to do 900 windmill installs.
Even do 50-50, Robbie, just in case. Just like, once again, to be conservative, you know.
I will. To be honest, I think, like, windmills would be. I would want to go with windmills 100%.
Of course, we'd want it, but it's just like, you know, as Merlin said earlier, with like things like licensing or whatever, on like agreements,
okay, right.
just even 50-50, so that we can.
Yeah, just do 500, 500.
Well, 500. What I was going to show you was with 10 laborers, 500. It takes 2 hours a windmill. It takes one person per windmill. 500 windmills would take us 3 and a bit working weeks to fully deploy 500 windmills with 10 laborers. And that's bang on. Like, these figures, I've been running through them so much, testing absolutely everything, because this shit is genuinely crazy. 3.5 working weeks until full deployment of 500 windmills, provided you have the windmills sold, like as in we've acquired them, and we have 10 laborers. And it would take 10 working weeks to do 500 houses with 10 laborers.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Like, I think if we first of all, so, like type A's are like you're thinking of B2C, or is it still B2B?
We'd be talking to people who own houses. You wouldn't like, you'd realistically be going to someone who owns many properties.
I think if you want to do these installs in Holland, it will take you at least 1 working day to install 1 house. And that sounds like bullshit, but it just isn't. Like,
Why?
it's going to be.
So
really,
you're gonna have to
really
explain
hard.
that to us. Like, you're gonna have to break down hour by hour. You know,
No
what you're
problem.
doing.
Like when you get there at like 9 o'clock, you know,
Okay.
most people at 9 o'clock will say, "Fuck no, I'll have you at 11," or something like that, and they'll only have you in the weekend because otherwise they're working. So that's going to be a problem already. Being able to only do installs in like evenings or weekends, dealing with people is always a fucking problem. Like, if you need to like make a hole in someone's wall, they're going to be a big bitch about it. Especially.
I disagree.
Maybe in Holland. No, we'll let them speak. Cause
hold on. Yeah, I want to hear that. I want to hear the full briefing.
The thing is, like, in Holland, like I told you, Jason, like every cable is in the wall, like everything. There are no lightning conductors running down the sides of buildings, like not in people's houses. All this shit is neatly worked away under something or behind something. Everything is really, really neat. The thing with businesses is that there it doesn't matter. Everything's on the outside. Everything is just going everywhere, no problem. But I really don't think that we want to sell to customers, and like when you have customers in business, like B2C or B2B, I think you really want to focus on business, because
absolutely,
yeah, people are gonna be a bitch about everything. They want to drink coffee with you. You know, like they want to be able to call you if something goes wrong, or they fucking pull the cable and you can go back, like shit like that.
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a pain in the ass.
Not so much in Ireland, to be honest. Like the likes of the drilling holes into people's walls. It would say we'd be approaching people that own multiple properties. So the landlord would let the tenant know such and such is coming around at this time to install an aerial.
That's going to be B2B. I'm really for doing that. But going
yeah, I mean, there's no way you'd be going B2C. You can't.
Yeah,
I mean, even when you consider though going to an individual when they're getting their internet done, they don't have an issue then when there's something screwed into the side. Then, you know.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you like this. I would not tell them you're drilling holes in their house. At the end of the day, there's going to be a terms and conditions agreement that they have to agree to, and in there's going to be an install, and then you're going to come in. It's just going to be like the internet or cable company. The internet guy doesn't. I mean, what is he going to say? Oh, you can't drill in my house? Well, then you don't get internet. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
I understand.
Obviously, there's a hole for the internet. We use that same hole for the helium.
Yeah.
That's what I've been doing in the house. Because in every house I go to in America, because I've installed 10 here in America, 5 of them I own, 5 of them I sold. And every time I came in, I pulled out that drill, they kind of look at me, and I'm like, what? And they're like, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm putting this through the house. And then they're like, oh, what about the rain? What about this? What about that? And I just literally point at their cable modem, and I'm like, I'm literally just making the hole that the guy already made, putting it through and patching it up again. You know what I mean? So there's already a hole there for the internet when it was installed. So that's how I took care of that concern.
But really, like,
they don't mind as much.
In Holland, the internet cable is going under the sidewalk. You know, everything's under the sidewalk. So if the internet companies come in, they actually break open the sidewalk and dig there. There's a pipe. That pipe is connected, then closed off by them and all that shit. They don't really have to drill into the house. Like the last time when they installed fiber into my house, they had to drill a new hole. But
okay,
that also took.
And where was that? Where is that hole? Would you be able to open that hole up and draw another cable through it?
If I rip open the
box,
the sidewalk, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, the sidewalk. It's actually the sidewalk. Then I have to dig, and then there are holes over there. But
so you're gonna have to show us. So if you could make some videos and like show us, because yeah, or maybe Merlin can find a home.
It's actually I can show you because they are still installing fiber in my neighborhood, and I can show you the fiber cables that literally come up at the sidewalk.
Yeah.
It's
they're everywhere.
Because I know at least my home is just like drywall, you know. And there's some stucco outside. Like it's not very difficult to get to the outside of.
Yeah, but that's also the difference. Like in Holland, the houses are really well built. Like it's they have to withstand earthquake shit all the time. You know.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. That's a fair point, I suppose, with American houses. But it's the same with Irish houses. Like Irish houses are built really well. But running cables isn't that much of an issue, to be honest. You just run the cable.
Because it's just one cable.
Yeah, I actually thought when you mentioned about the cables being on the wall really neat, I thought you were going to mention about drilling in and potentially going through those cables, and then the person being like, "You fucked my TV. What have you done?" But like, I thought that's what you were going to say. But I see your point. But to be honest, like even things like scheduling, I think if you show up, like there's a difference between like when you go and you make the sale and you say, we'll just keep it very simple. Hey Julian, I'm going to give you €500 a year if you let me put this on the side of your house. And that person, we assume they say yes, and then you say, okay, on when suits you, because obviously we're going to try and work to their times so that we don't run into those issues. They say, oh well, actually Friday at 3 p.m. works for me. You know, we call them on the Thursday and say, is Friday at 3 p.m. still good? Yeah. You send out your laborer, you're there at 3 p.m. and realistically, yeah, you might have 1 in 20 where somebody's like, here, what the fuck, it doesn't work for me now. But like if somebody books a doctor's appointment or somebody books to have their internet installed, they're going to be there, you know.
Especially if they're getting a check, you know.
Yeah,
they're getting paid.
They're going to get paid.
And they don't get paid until it gets turned on. And
Yeah.
we will be using contractors, and like when we do the sale, that's what I was saying. We're gonna have the install crew and the sale crew. When the sale crew comes in, their job is to get them to sign the contract, which gives you permission to put the hole in. So when you come in, realistically, you don't even gotta tell them. Just fucking make the hole, do what you gotta do, install it, finish, do your job, and leave. If they later come to us, that's not your problem. You're just the installer. It's gonna be on the contractor who, you know, made the actual hole, or on us, the company.
But do you want to use like a real sales force? Because like one of Merlijn's best friends owns, I think, the second biggest sales force of Holland.
Well, it depends.
They're not the biggest,
do we have problems getting locations? If we have problems getting locations, then we need to enable a sales force. If we don't have a problem getting locations, then we don't need a sales force. It's all about it's gonna be a test case. So if I send you these 20 units, like for example, it's April 14th. I got these units January. Okay. So how long is it going to take? We're going to see how long it's going to take for me to ship the units and get them installed, whether it's on homes, on top of these other buildings. What we need to do is we need to prove the concept, right? So that's what I'm doing with them in Ireland is we have, like you said, A, B, C, D, E, F. We have all these different types. So A and F are obviously the windmills and the homes, and those are the most, the simplest and the most lucrative, but we're also doing the other types. So as they go out there, we're going to create an SOP, an operating procedure on how to go in and sell and close and install and support all these different things, including what if they sell the home and they move? What if they move locations? What if they have a referral? What if they have... There's going to be all these different situations. Of course, there's going to be problems, but you know, we're not going to fucking sit there and if they come in and like, oh, don't make a hole and da-da-da-da. We're going to be, thank you, have a nice day, and we're going to move on to the next house. That's not a problem. You know what I mean? Because 300 meters away, there's another home. And if that doesn't work, 300 meters from there's another home. If that doesn't work, we literally have the whole country. It doesn't really matter at this point exactly where we deploy them until we're deploying them on the scale of like 1,000 at a time. Then we can start creating our own areas of network. But for like 10, 20, 50, 100, until we get to 500, that's when the number really starts getting interesting. So I don't think we'll run into those problems as much as you think we will.
Yeah, exactly, Jason. Like what you said there, like, just to go back to the previous point on sales, like, for giving people money to essentially do nothing, I don't think it's going to be hard to get locations, especially then. If you want to like eliminate the having to go from individual to individual, target a property management company. They can give you access to all their properties. Like there's so many.
Yeah, like I have a British guy. He's got 500 properties in the UK, and he wants to put them on all of them. You know what I mean? But it's like I don't have the funding and shit to do that, and the UK is different than the EU as far as like the mining shit. Yeah, taxes too, but like the actual devices and the network and everything. So like,
yeah, like there's loads of ways around this, but like Jason said, like he has these since January. It's now April. Like, every day that they're not up is a day with lost rewards, and not even when then you think about like the rewards will still be good and lucrative, but there will be a halvening in the rewards. I think next August, so we've got a year and a half close enough to it, to sort of make the most of the current scale. But even in that year and a half, realistically, yeah, there will be an increase in miners out there, hotspots, but HNT will be used more, and the appreciation of the token should off balance any potential losses. But just on the sales part that we talked there about a minute ago, about it might be good to potentially have salespeople once we have the deployment there to actually convert the likes of those farmers to using HNT, and we can work out some sort of an arrangement potentially with Helium or whoever, so that, like, I don't know, maybe a commission for converting those people over, so that our miners are then being used more, constructing more challenges, witnessing more, and then ultimately that will boost our rewards that we've already implemented and putting the infrastructure for as well. So it's just, there's so much going on with this and a lot of opportunity. So I'm looking forward to hearing some more about this meeting with Casper. Merlin, is it Merlin or Merlin?
Merlin, but Merlin is also Merlin.
Okay. Merlin.
Brilliant. How did you know Casper, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, since 2014, he used to play in my club, in our club. Yeah, with Julian also, we ran it. And then I took him and his DJ partner to China to play their tour. And so I've been knowing him always from music, but I knew he had like pretty successful company in IT and innovation and that kind of stuff. And then when I was like recently in Arnhem again, where it is, and we had a beer, and I kind of dropped this, then he immediately got very excited and told me about his other business partner, who is like super successful investor and CEO of really big Dutch companies has been. And when we were there, this guy immediately was like thinking about the devil's advocate scenarios, but also the potential what it has. But this guy is like 50 something and has seen it all. So he, like, if we have this, what prevents us from not somebody else copies it? And like he came with all the doom scenarios, but also thinking along that you should at least sell 1,000 per month, and then it gets interesting in his view. So that guy really likes to think big. And on the other hand, Casper's also, being the tech nerd he is, was like, okay, but if there's 20 now, let's make sure that we have some that we give them away to the right people that can help us, for instance, with the solar roof people. We're going to install one at this guy's house with a goal to assure that he will give us all their roofs.
Well, and the solar people gives us a free sales force. That's what's amazing about that. If we create a partnership, every person they pitch to, how hard is it to have at the bottom of the contract, would you like free extra income of this much euro a month for using a square foot space on your roof? Check yes or no. If they check yes and sign it, that paperwork comes to us, and we send, or so we know how many units they need to have or whatever.
Yeah, it's fantastic because it's not like a mindless, oh, I have money, I can give you money, here you go. You're getting a real partner with infrastructure and advice, and those really important things that make a business, make or break it. So yeah, that's brilliant. That's really, really good.
Yeah, so I think it would be good to plan a moment together with Casper. And let's see, and they also their accountants are like amazing. And since they are like one of the biggest firms in the Netherlands, they never even had IRS checks because they kind of trust these kind of accountants because they are so.
It gets
well
scary
studied.
though. You remember Bernie Madoff, right? They trusted him pretty good. But that can be in our favor. That can be in our favor.
Yeah.
No, but
Yeah,
we
so-
want to get here, talk, show us what we've been really working on. That we've been working and we've been thinking about all the different scenarios and what can happen. And obviously, moving on to Salesforce and marketing and the website. And me and Merlin talked that Casper's actually was willing to exchange an e-commerce website for a hotspot. So that's cool. So, yeah, there's just a bunch of opportunity I see of us. I just want us all to get together and, make sure we're all on the same page before we bring Casper in. And, whenever Casper's available, let's work around his schedule and meet with him and come up with some sort of agreement, and then let's get these 20 out, and then let's set some milestones. Be like, all right, let's get these 20, then we'll do 100, then we'll do 500. Let's get a plan going. And then once
I think Tuesday is a good day to catch up with him because on Monday everyone is having Easter family thingies.
Yeah.
So Tuesday would be a fitting moment. I think that's what he told us yesterday also.
Cool.
See, yeah, Tuesday I'm also pretty flexible after. Well,
You're the schedule, Merlin. You got the calendar. You know what I mean. You got all our emails. Just I like how that email comes in. So whatever time is good for him, just set it up. I'll be there.
Yeah. Cool. Then
awesome.
Yeah, well, great to meet, guys, and really nice to see you all.
Brilliant.
Yeah, man, great to meet you guys.
Lovely to meet you as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to seeing what comes of it. Yeah, it's really good.
I think
Nice.
Really awesome.
I hope you all will have a good Easter weekend with lots of booze and good times.
Yes.
I just had my serving. I just got back from Belgium the other day, so I'm gonna stay away for a few days. Yeah.
Stay away from the chocolate.
Yeah, the chocolate and the beer.
Belgian chocolate and beer. They banned Belgian chocolate here. What's that? Godiva, I think, right?
Yeah, that's just America.
No, there's this one Belgium chocolate company. They're really big, but they banned them in America. They left. Like, they're not here anymore.
Oh.
So weird.